Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Google Workspace Recap, a Tab Geeks Network show. Each week we take you through everything announced by Google Workspace, discussing the updates of the week and other relevant news and announcements. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. Episode lucky number 13. We've got a solid episode this week, so let's get to it. Steve, how's it going?
Pretty good. Not too much to add for this week. I don't know, anecdotal tidbits here. Something recent and relevant, as our notes say. Didn't really cover that, but
Nothing relevant this week.
Yeah, not too much happening. I don't think. I think of other than last night with Will Smith. I mean, that was
Will
an
Smith
interesting
smacking
situation. Yeah,
That was the entirety of my feeds everywhere today, from Reddit to Facebook and back again.
I couldn't understand, because he was laughing 1 minute, and then he went up and, what looked like he slapped him, and then he's walking back, but then he's still laughing. Almost as if it was, I don't know either.
I'm not really one for conspiracies, but there are a lot of people saying that it was staged.
That's what it looked like to me. That's why I kept watching it over and over again. I'm like, why is he smiling so much?
The
But
fallout
then-
seems a lot less staged.
Well, right. Then his demeanor, though, afterwards, what he was yelling
Right.
from the audience, that didn't seem staged at all. That seemed very serious.
Yeah, well, maybe he
So-
has a little something extra going on that is giving him a hard time. I personally loved all the memes that came out of it, though. One of my favorites was Chris Rock saying, "Do you have a moment?" And then Will Smith saying, "You didn't put in a ticket," and smacking him. It's like, if he can smack on the big stage there, can we do that to our users? I don't know. There were some really, really fantastic ones, though. I was cracking up for most of the day. I was trying to focus on work and really having a hard time doing it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tickets, we are transitioning from our MSP to a internal ticketing system this week. So.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
Oh, no. This isn't like an IT ticketing system. This is just, we're using HubSpot for it. Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, it's just because we have everyone else in the organization there, and we don't really have that many requests anyways. Mm-hmm. We have so many requests that are from our members that are sometimes not necessarily IT related, that need to go across, cross-functional teams. So there was really no need to get a dedicated IT support system, IT ticketing system, when we had, everyone else in the organization in HubSpot doing shared inboxes in there. So
Yeah.
That's kind of where we decided to move to.
Interesting approach.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of the benefits from IT-focused help desks just phenomenal. But there is something to be said to having everybody on the same platform. That's for sure.
Yeah, our needs are pretty simple. It just needs to come in. Someone needs to, take ownership of it and respond, and that's pretty much what this does. There's some, there's some built-in SLAs you can assign to it. A couple, priorities and different SLAs based on the priorities. So, I mean, good enough for what we do.
Yeah, it's the basics. It's what you need.
Yeah. Well, like you said, we do have quite a few good updates this week. We have 8 in total. And let's jump into the summary of those. And then we have a couple other little topics here as well to wrap things up, to round things out. How do you want to say that? Google Meet attendance reports are available now for education meetings with 2 or more participants. There's an updated and improved audit log experience in the admin console. Updated, yes. Improved, maybe. We were talking about this earlier today. I don't know. It's taking a bit of getting used to. It
Remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some benefits to it. It just behaves and looks and acts a little bit different than it used to, of course. Next, we have the ability to enable the discovery and sharing of spaces in Google Chat, making it, of course, easier for your organization to find these. Creating more interactive assignments with practice sets for Google Classroom. And that is something that is just really an announcement. The beta is launching soon, and we'll share the sign-up link for that. So if you're an educator and looking to leverage this new feature, sign up for that one. Back to the kind of the Google Workspace side of things is that you can now develop Google Workspace add-ons to attach files to calendar events from third-party services. There's some expanded access for noise cancellation in Google Meet. And this one, which is, I think, probably the best update of the week, and one of the best updates, I think, in quite some time, actually, is you can now create externally friendly booking pages with appointment scheduling in Google Calendar.
Woohoo!
So something that was available to the Google individual users for a while, available to Googlers for even longer before that, now finally making its way to Workspace customers. And
It's about time.
I created an example landing page, and we'll share the link in there. And I won't be attending any of those if you do book anything, but you can have a look and see what it looks like. A lot of settings in there. I think, a lot more settings than I expected Google to have in this release.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's not an initial release because they, as we said, it has been out there for a while on the individual license, but I was definitely impressed. So it was a good,
Same.
good features here on that one. And then finally, new Google Meet management settings for admins, and that's something we'll wrap things up with there on the 8th update. Couple things here also in the news. Google announcing the new Cloud Contact Center AI platform. Now, somehow I remember this being announced at Google I/O 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it? Is that when it
Something like
was? It was maybe, 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was.
Well, they have contact center AI,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this
It
is
was
AI
the
platform.
it was the intelligent call center responses and all this call stuff. It was. I think it was part of I/O.
Yeah.
And it was quite a while ago. So I guess this is just putting a whole AI contact center experience around it and competing with the likes of Twilio, who has created a great contact center solution a couple years ago. I think Amazon also came out with one. I know. I think I probably mentioned this before in one of the episodes. I went through about 3 or 4 contact center solutions within a span of about a year and a half, trying to work with our head office and our local offices and try to figure out one that worked for everyone. And we had quite a lot in a very short span of time, and nothing quite like the Twilio contact center solution was out. That had not been released yet. Obviously, Google did not have a solution either, so it took a while to kind of find something that worked for us. And then we have an upcoming special. It's not really an episode. It is more of a special ongoing series that we're going to start to have.
A new series, live special event series that will be. I guess we can announce it now because it is the item here on the agenda. But bringing back Alex from Google to talk about all of the latest updates to Chrome, the browser, and Chrome Managed Browser. So that'll be a live event on YouTube, and that'll be April 10th. Sorry, April 12th.
I was going to say.
Sorry,
12
April
at
12,
10
12, 1, 2, yep, April 12 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's where the 10 comes in. It's the time. Yeah. So that'll be a quarterly update that we're going to do every quarter, and it'll be a new segment as part of Workspace Recap, and you'll have us running the show and talking to Alex, and we'll see whoever else we can get on. Going over all the new things to Chrome.
Yep, so I guess that would be the beginning of every quarter, it seems like. April, right?
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah.
But not to be exact, but yeah.
I mean, close enough.
They are shipping like crazy, so the idea is to kind of try and keep up a little bit.
Yep. That's what we try to do here. Help you keep up, right?
That's what we do.
So, All right, let's dive in then to that first update that is announced. A couple this week on the education front. So first one being that Google Meet attendance reports are now available for education meetings with 2 or more participants. So you'll automatically receive those attendance reports anytime a meeting has 2 or more participants. And previously, attendance tracking was limited to meetings with 5 or more. So it just allows you to track who showed up other than yourself for individual meetings. I mean, if you if you need a report that you showed up to your own meeting and it was just you talking to yourself, I guess this is the next best thing, with you and someone else, like one-on-ones. So this feature is going to be on by default, be switched off in the admin console. And then for your end users, it'd be available for them really without too much effort on their part. They just have to enable that attendance tracking capability, and it'll be available for them in that report. Rollout for this one started 21st of March for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, and that rapid release, scheduled release domains, and gradual rollout, 15 days for feature visibility. I think I got all the details on that one. That is it.
I do kind of wonder about today's kids, like, if you're in a Google Meet with all of this tracking technology to be able to tell if you were there, like, we would pull all kinds of tricks when we were kids, and it's getting harder and harder to be able to pull that off. I mean, I suppose you could share your password with somebody else. Do we have two-factor authentication, hardware authentication on for all of our students to make sure that they can only log in when they have their phone near them? People switch phones for the day. They wouldn't do that, right?
I tried to set that up for my kids' accounts, and they were not on Google. They were on Microsoft, and the school disabled two-factor authentication, which didn't shock me, given that they were basically defining everyone's username and passwords based on their school ID, which you could figure out based on.
Most schools unfortunately do that, or many.
Well, yeah,
schools.
they shared these numbers in the school directory, which was accessible in your Microsoft account. So you could just see someone's password essentially by their ID number.
Right.
And their username was guessable because it's, something like first name, last name, or whatever it was, first initial, last name. So you could effectively log into pretty much any student's account because they didn't force password changes. And, it was, you could pretty much log in as any student, essentially. So,
well, I guess if you are in class remotely and you share your account with somebody else and then come on, say that your microphone isn't working, then the participant report after the meeting here would say that one person attended when really they weren't there. Yeah. Think about OPSEC for the future of education.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I didn't mention there in terms of who this is available for the Workspace Education Plus and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade users. So just those 2 tiers on education.
Speaking of tracking.
Yeah, speaking of tracking.
On to the next one.
Audit Logs. There's an updated and improved Audit Log experience in the admin console. So prior to this update, and I think it's not rolled out to everyone just yet because I'm still seeing this in the old configuration in some domains, although some of course are updating to the new experience. And it is moving audit logs into the security investigation tool for what they say is a more unified reporting experience across the admin console. And some of the improvements that you'll notice here is enhanced search attribute options. So there's a new search field that will help admins quickly find and apply search attributes for larger lists for more than 15 items. Admins will be able to pin commonly used attributes. So kind of nice, I guess. You have the ability to perform searches in filter and condition builder mode. So filter mode, you can add simple parameters and value pairs, such as viewing externally shared files with sensitive data or external emails with attachments, and filter those search results. And then for things like the condition builder mode, you can view previously applied filters and conditions with and/or operators and further refine those search results. And there's some new data sources for the investigation tool. So they're expanding that list of data sources out to 31 in total. And that list is pretty extensive. I kind of wonder, what is this going to look like for the BigQuery audit log exports? I haven't had a look at how that's going to impact those tables and that data going into BigQuery, because if they are making some changes and enhancements here, is it going to cause some of that data to be different than what it was, let's say, the last 6 months? Am I going to have to rebuild Data Studio dashboards to account for some of these new fields? Probably. I'm guessing that what we're probably seeing in this new security investigation tool, though, in terms of the data structure, is probably more in line with what we would be seeing in those BigQuery logs directly. So I think there's probably some similarities being applied there with this update. I could only fathom to guess.
Interesting observation.
Yeah. Well, it's not really an observation. It's just more of a deduction.
Sure.
Thought of like, oh, probably, possibly, could be what it is. I haven't actually looked at it. I've been using the new experience, and it's taking a little getting used to. It is definitely different. It is not for those very simple things that you want to do in terms of, I just did some action in the admin console. I want to see what it was so that I know what it's called. It takes a lot more clicks to get there, because before I would just have the admin logs bookmarked and I'd click a link and it would go there and boom, I would see, the most recent event. Now I've got to do a little bit more clicking. I got to get to the investigation tool because I can't bookmark the admin audit logs directly anymore. I then, as I said, you have to select the admin audit logs as your data source, and then you have to click search. So it takes a little while to get there. Now there might be some ways to save these investigations, because with the investigation tool you can do that. So it's very useful for when you're composing more complex queries that you want to save and share with other admins, for example. But I'm sure that you can probably apply that to just a very simple query of show me the admin logs and save it, and maybe that would automatically load up your most recent events. But it's definitely something to take a closer look at here, because I know on a regular basis I'm using the audit logs, I would say pretty much on a daily regular basis. So this will definitely have some impact on your day-to-day. This is going to roll out starting the 22nd of March for rapid release and scheduled release domains on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days for feature visibility. And that's definitely the case here. I saw this probably a couple weeks ago, actually. This started popping up in the admin console a little while ago in terms of the renaming of the logs, and now starting to see it on a few more domains. So this one is available to all Workspace customers, as well as the legacy G Suite and basic and business customers. Although I wonder, is it available? Ooh, I don't have. Wait a minute. What is my? I'll have to check and see. Just while I talk about the updates, have a look at Workspace Recap is on a business license, right?
Yep.
I wonder, what does it look like over there
Legacy
with the security
business.
Investigation tool? Is it coming up? Is it working for you yet?
Let me see if it
Yeah.
anything changed.
Have
I
a
don't think
look
it
and
did when
see.
I looked earlier.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's because do you even have access to the security investigation tool on a business
Let me check.
domain? That's what I'm wondering. Is it even available? as you check that, let me jump into the next update. We can always pop back to that. So next update is the enabling of the discovery and sharing of spaces in Google Chat. So now when you create spaces in chat, you can share them with others in your org to join via link. And you can update a space's access to everyone in the organization when creating a new space. This is something that just allows your organization users to more easily find these spaces that are available to them. Before, you kind of had to be mentioned or sent a link, and it wasn't quite as well, you could be sent a link from like the chat itself and kind of join, but this is just making it a little bit easier to join here with new shared links. I think the old way was still possible. You could just go into chat.google.com, open up a space, and grab the URL to one of the spaces. But this is making an actual option in the space to say, create this shared link so that someone else can access it. So structure is a little bit different. This is, let's just have a look here in terms of what this might look like. So configuring a space to be shareable. Users can only enable a space to be shareable within an organization at creation. So this is just like you had with threaded replies and responses. You could, and also allowing external users into a space. You have to do this when you create that space. You can't create it and then go back and be like, oh yeah, I want to, make this shareable. So you have to do this when you create it, essentially. And other users outside the organization will not be able to join a space even with the shared link. So this is really for internal organization users only within your workspace tenant. No admin controls for this one. Rollout for this is on an extended rollout starting the 22nd of March for both rapid release and scheduled release domains. But this one also is potentially going to take longer than 15 days for feature visibility and available to all customers. Next one, jumping back into the education realm here. You can now create more interactive assignments with practice sets for Google Classroom, and this is a beta that is launching soon. So, what this is as a teacher creating assignments in Classroom, there's some additional help and support some of those students might need in learning about what it is, that they're reading. So this just gives you as an educator some more ways to allow the students to learn in slightly different ways. Also give you some information on how often some of these kind of interactive functionalities are being used by each person. And if you are interested in signing up for this, there's a pretty kind of memorable URL. It is the short Google URL, goo.gle/practice sets -beta, all one word, on practice sets. And we'll, of course, share the link in the show notes so you can access that and sign up. I removed all the UTM tracking codes for you, so it's just the direct URL to the form there. None of the extra fluff that Google added in on their blog update on the URL. And availability on this one. So kind of, as I said, you have to sign up for this, express some interest. But when it is available, it'll be available for Workspace Education Plus and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade customers only. Over there will not be available for other Classroom users. And developers now can create Workspace add-ons to attach files to calendar events from third-party services. So you can do, as the animated graphics here show, you can add a team mind map, for example, and that will allow you to go into that third-party application and embed some attachments from those third-party apps. And it will, as you are able to visually see, what that application is, it will just add that in like a normal Google Drive link and put it there in the event description and attachments section. So this is cool. Yeah, so just kind of developer focused. So for any of those organizations out there with those applications, you can kind of improve the features and functionality of your application with this easier to use file picker. Essentially, is what that is, and available now to all developers and of course the users that are leveraging those applications that have been developed with this new feature. Available to all Workspace customers as well as legacy, basic, and business customers. All right, Jesse, any luck with that research on security investigation
You wanted
tool?
to see what? If I could access the audit log?
Can you access security investigation tool on a business licensed environment?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the audit log. Then I got distracted by the Spaces update.
All right, we'll come back to you after
I don't think
this
that I
next
can,
update.
by the way.
Yeah?
I don't see it.
That's okay. So under
Yeah,
security.
I've got security. Yeah, under security, go ahead.
You should see like investigation tool. Security investigation tool.
Not seeing it.
You're not seeing it, huh?
I've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. I'm not seeing investigation tool. I have it over on my other account, but not on my Tab Geeks account because it's only on business.
Yeah, it would be under
Time to
Security Center and then investigation tool.
Yeah, it's not there.
Well, that's interesting. I'm
I have alert
intrigued
center.
by this because let's see if I do admin audit logs. Let me see what this might allow me to do. I'll share this with you, this link, because I do get like a link here. Admin audit logs, copy link address. I'll put this in our show notes. This does look like a pretty specific URL here with link equals and ref equals. Let's get to our notes. And here we go. Put it in here. Check that out. See if it takes you anywhere. If it just redirects you back to an error or something.
You don't have access.
Don't have access.
Except that I am the super admin.
That's interesting. Yeah. Because, it says it's going out to all Workspace customers. So.
Yeah, but we've had issues with their phrasing in the past.
Well, no, it's not really about phrasing. It's more about, they're changing the audit logs. This is not really it's not an enterprise specific feature. This is them saying, we're changing the audit logs and we're sending you over to the security investigation tool. And it's available for all customers as well as legacy, basic and business customers. So I know they got some time here. There's some extended rollout for this, but I'm going to be curious to see what happens with the investigation tool for those basic and business customers.
Definitely.
As well, yeah. Because it's not working right now. You can't even access that. So, yeah. All right. Jumping back to our sixth update here of the week. Just trying to count backwards from 8 and
Losing
include
track.
the one that I had or hadn't included. So
Number 6.
Yeah, number 6. All meeting attendees can now use noise canceling capabilities in Google Meet if noise canceling is available for the meeting organizer's Google Workspace Edition and if the user joins a meeting using any Google Meet hardware devices. So some previous announcements around access for noise canceling on Google Meet hardwares hardware and kits now available pretty much everywhere. It is noise canceling, by the way, is on by default, and that's on for default with the Workspace Business Standard Plus, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Standard, Frontline, Enterprise Plus, Workspace Individual Subscriber accounts. It is off by default for Education Plus, Teaching and Learning Upgrade accounts. And then there's just a note here for all Workspace accounts. If the setting is on by default for your organization in a meeting with other people outside your organization, they can also use this feature during that meeting. So,
very cool.
Good to know.
Yes. This is something that I actually really wanted since they launched it. I was like, why are the other people that are in the meeting with me when I'm paying for it and have this capability, why are they still making a ton of noise? And I imagine that we're not the only ones that were saying that, and that there are probably a lot of other organizations and likely people inside of Google as well that were asking for that if they don't already or didn't already have that capability. So it's a very natural extension here, and quite frankly, I'm super happy that that's the case. And as an extension of that, also, it seems like we were saying last week, is that it seems that they figured out how to optimize noise cancellation across the board, that they can just be like, here, noise cancellation for everybody, as long as you've got either a meeting room device or somebody in the meeting who has it. Although at this point, in this case, it needs to be the organizer, but perhaps in the next step, it'll be if somebody joins the meeting with noise cancellation, everybody gets it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right. I mean, from what I'm reading, this is basically everyone has this now, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, except for they didn't mention nonprofits. Damn it. Now I gotta test this. When is this? Does they give a date on this?
It says this feature is available now for all users.
Why do I have a feeling that it's not going to be available for nonprofits?
And be like, oh yeah, we forgot about nonprofits.
Well, I can't. You know what? I can't start a meeting now because it'll probably screw up the video
kill
feed.
Yeah. Don't do that.
It doesn't. Our software does not like using.
We've had enough issues with your camera.
Yeah. I'll test this one and put little notes in the show notes of whether or not nonprofits are included for this one.
I actually figured out why my camera's been driving me crazy with my color. I was trying out the same camera as Steve earlier this evening because it's driving me crazy that my color the tint is all wrong and I can't manage to fix it. Know what it is? My monitor.
Yeah?
Yeah, the color settings on my monitor are all messed up. I moved the window over onto my MacBook Pro screen, and I was like, wait a minute, that looks normal. What the hell? So I've been driving myself crazy for weeks and weeks and weeks over this, and then even got a new camera just to be able to see if I could solve that. So, but now we can accurately test if Steve's issues are his computer related or Logitech Brio related, because I now have one as well. So we're gonna have to play around with that. But I'm happy that I look normal to everybody else on the feed, even if I look orange to myself.
Yeah, I grabbed the new Logitune camera setting app. I was previously using the camera settings app, and allowed me to customize and fix the white balance a little bit more granularly than I was able to before, which was like just a slider. So what am I currently set at here for anyone that is curious? Color adjustment, I'm at 4420 Kelvin.
Nice. I was all the way up at 5,700 when I was playing around with it. But I've also got a ridiculous amount of lighting around me, all set to 55, etc.
Yeah.
55 and change, whatever it is. 57,
I have to
6.
look at my app right now to see what color I set it at. I do have different light, different spots.
Have to do a whole episode of In the Studio.
Yeah.
Gear Jammer episode. But we digress.
On to our most favorite update of the week, and probably this is probably going to be in the top 10 updates of the year, I'd imagine.
Oh, for sure.
I think this one.
Goodbye, Calendly.
Well, nearly.
Almost.
Yes.
Almost.
So, appointment scheduling is now available in Google Calendar.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Woohoo. And
Finally.
one thing I did notice though about this is that when I am creating an event now, I have so many options available on my event types. One organization I have like event, out of office, task, and appointment slots. But then on another one, it says it's just super wide. There's event, there's focus time, there's out of office, there's task, there's reminder, and then there's appointment schedule. So I have like 6 event types that are now taking up almost half of my screen in that, pre event details, more options window is like pretty much double the width of what I'm used to
Interesting.
previously. So, yeah, yep, it's okay, not bad. So,
But this, like you said before, launched with way more features than I expected it to. Thank you, Google. Well done. Very
yes,
happy with that.
yeah,
Not everything, but way more than we
no,
thought it was going to.
yeah. So, yeah, a lot of flexibility to schedule windows around each of the events. So you're not scheduling giving people the ability to book, let's say 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:30, 8. You get a buffer in between there. You get to, let's say, give yourself, let's say, 8 appointment possibilities and limit it to say just once 4 have been booked, then that's it. I'm full. So there's a lot of customization there. Although you can't invite or add additional attendees directly in the appointment scheduling dashboard, you can ask them for additional fields of information, and it could just be, other attendees' emails, and then you can manually add those into that event once you get it automatically into the environment. And there's easy buttons there to cancel or reschedule the appointment. And what else here? Overall, it just looks nice. The landing page looks well laid out, well designed. And I'll share an example of my Workspace Recap episode sync 25-minute appointment. That's kind of one thing that I wish it pulled in as your default meeting times from your calendar settings. I had to, it kind of defaults to 15, 30, and 60, or maybe even 45, but it doesn't do speedy meetings, for example, by default if you have that set in your calendar. So I had to manually choose 25-minute appointment slots. But
One thing that I didn't see the option for is checking against another calendar. So, like my personal and
right,
my, business calendars, for example,
that is
or
true.
any of the other calendars that I have access
Yeah.
to, or if it's going to be a meeting with a team, checking against their calendars, or even the ability to add other people to the event. That's the other thing that we also noticed is the inability to be able to say, okay, who else should attend this meeting, add other guests, etc. So Steve did come up with a good workaround for that. And I didn't even realize this until after I started clicking through, and maybe they can do better at guiding you through that process. But on the first page, when you're creating a bookable appointment schedule, there's a whole lot of settings and drop downs and whatnot. But there's even more settings after you go to the next screen when you click next. So I think they
Right.
need to better detail that or dump it all on one page. But even still, with all of that, you weren't able to specifically put in, hey, who else should attend this meeting? However, under booking form, you do have the ability to add a custom item. So good call, Steve, on that one. And you can even set it as required if that's something that you're interested in. Whatever
Yeah.
that custom item is, whether it's employee ID or who the hell knows what. In this case, who else should attend would be what we would put on there. But that would be something that we would like to see show up in there as well.
Yep. And there are event reminders. So this will be reminders to the person who booked and when that goes out. So not just you as normal calendar event reminder that you would typically get on yours, but this is for the person who made the appointment will get that reminder, and it can be set 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 30, 1 hour, 1 day, or a custom number of minutes, hours, days, or weeks. Yeah, so, and you can do multiple reminders as well with that. So pretty cool. Pretty cool feature.
Indeed. So who's getting it?
And who's getting it? Well, it's a good thing you asked, Jesse, because
Well, I can tell you on the business account, I've already got it. So
yes. So I'll tell you who it's not. That list is a little bit shorter by the looks of things. It is not available for Workspace Essentials, Business Starter, Frontline, as well as G Suite Basic and Business customers. It does say, in this case, that is available to nonprofits. So good news for me. Yes. Rollout pace on this one, it is going out to rapid release domains on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility, which started a couple days ago on the 24th of March. And for scheduled release domains, need to wait around a little bit longer till April 6th, and that will be on a full rollout with a 1 to 3 day feature visibility window. So keep an eye out for that one if you are on one of those scheduled release domains. And of course, if you're on Rapid but haven't seen it yet, it is coming soon, and it's cool.
it is.
Pretty
It's
cool.
fantastic. I am likely going to use that in favor over Calendly. I have to double check. I might still need the checking multiple calendars bit, but I think that'll, especially for any internal stuff, that'll take the
Yeah.
the place of it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'll have to change all my links.
This
my
is not financial
calendars.
advice, but maybe short the stock for Calendly. I don't think they're public.
I don't know about that. One thing we did also find out, though, is that the calendar appointment URL landing pages, and actually all of calendar.google.com, is not indexed by Google search results. Not. It is not. However, Google Docs are. You can find passwords there.
Don't give people ideas, but once upon a time, there was. Speaking of students hacking their way around systems before, you used to be able to search the name of a movie in Google Drive and find somebody who had it shared open to the internet in Google Drive. Who needs
Yeah.
torrenting when you have people doing that, right? And then people
Yeah.
got wise to that, and all of a sudden they became loaded with viruses. And I was like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Want that.
Oh, well. Can't
Well,
have
one
nice
interesting
things.
thing, speaking of kind of files and malicious files and things like that, there is some interesting things that you can now see, and it is part. Let me see if I can find this here. Oh yeah, here we go. So in that security investigation tool, of course on your enterprise domain for now at least, and when you pull up the investigation tool and pull up the data source as access transparency log event, you can see when someone has externally initiated an abuse review on a document that you might have.
Interesting.
And it tells you what country that person is in. Yeah. So as part of Workspace admins and all of the, nicely shared documentation information that put out there, some people don't understand how it got into their Google Drive. A publicly shared document, and they somehow at one point maybe accessed the folder that the stuff was in, did a Google search, clicked on a link. Well, now it's showing up in their Google Drive, and I can't do anything about it. So someone every couple of months kind of complains that, why are these files in my drive? Please take them out. I'm like, I can't, but you can.
You can.
And here's how. And that's been going on for over a year now.
Driving
So-
you crazy.
Well, no, not anymore, because I just auto archive the emails, so I don't see it anymore.
Smart.
But 'cause I don't know. I've spent like a lot of back and forth, just explaining how this works, telling you to contact support, telling you that I'll get on a call with you and show you how to remove these. But no,
Nope, not interested.
not interested. They just want to complain, and apparently now I can see them reporting all the files every once in a
Sweet.
while. So that was interesting to see that. Yeah. So notice that on the Workspace admins domain is where those files are owned. So it's all showing up over there. I think we got to rollout pace on the calendar, and we're down to our last update here. So some new Google Meet management settings for admins. And in the admin console, you've got some new settings, and you can control access to the following Meet features, which is chat, present, Q&A, and polls. So this will be a way for you as an admin to control which features and functionalities a user can leverage during a Meet event. Let's try to think there for a second. And this feature, all the features are enabled by default, but if you do need to turn any one of them off, just head over into the Google Meet safety settings, and then you can determine which features that you do not want to make available to your users. So if you don't want people to be able to, run Q&As, you can turn that off. And the rollout for this one started the 25th of March on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility, and that is for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, available to all Workspace customers with admin console access. That's an interesting one. Available to all Workspace editions with admin console access. What Workspace edition doesn't have admin console access? That's interesting. So there's some out there. Must be. Maybe. Yeah, I bet that could be it. But wouldn't individual have some sort of admin?
They have to, right?
Console access? Right.
Essentials does.
Well, I don't
not a whole lot in there.
Maybe, Jesse, they're alluding to something here. I wonder if they're
family edition
thinking about. Maybe, exactly.
Please. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Bring it on, Google.
A non-admin console environment.
Let's go. Do it.
Ooh. Could be interesting.
I want to know whose desk I got to go sit on to make this happen.
Oh my gosh, that doesn't sound
Camp
right.
out. No, it doesn't. But I meant camp out. And not leave until they give us what we want and stage a rally and all that jazz.
Yeah. Well, that is the last update for us this week. Why don't you...
from the official ones.
Yeah. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about this contact center AI that is now available?
Yeah. So this is admittedly somewhat over my head, actually. We covered a contact center AI back when they were talking about it a little while ago. I believe we did an entire episode with a guest talking about it, actually. But this is the launch of Contact Center AI, and they say it reimagines the customer experience through full end-to-end platform expansion. So as you were saying earlier, competing closer with Twilio, allowing you to build things out over there. So there's a whole Google Cloud blog post article here, just came out, so you can read through that. And of course has the salesy video on there on how to get started and whatnot. So if you're interested in that, go take a look. The more exciting thing that I want to talk about is our last and final update, which is the announcement that we did at the top of the episode, which is our Workspace Recap live Google Chrome and Chrome managed update, which is going to be, again, April 12th. That is at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm just watching Steve type in some notes here. We'll go back to that in a second. You can tell what you're typing over there. But essentially, we wanted to go through all of the updates that are happening on the Chrome side. And it's not necessarily relevant to everybody. You should be using Chrome, taking full advantage of it if you are a Google Workspace customer, which if you're listening to this podcast or this show, I'm guessing that you are. But essentially, there's so much power that you can do in Chrome, and they are just shipping features like crazy. When we had him on the what was it, last show? 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. It's all a blur at this point. What were we going to say, Steve?
No, I was just saying it was... go ahead.
Anyway, we were going over kind of the roadmap and everything that's coming and what they're working on and the stuff that they've already shipped. And it was just mind-boggling how much was there. So in that conversation, we're like, hey, how about if we do a regular show, kind of going over this? So not as regular as our weekly show, but we figured quarterly is probably going to be sufficient here. And we hope to see you all live on YouTube. That's on our YouTube channel. Tab Geeks is the name. So youtube.com/Tab Geeks. And I will schedule that event probably tomorrow or the day after, and we'll be able to go, or you'll be able to go on and set a reminder, or have YouTube set a reminder, so that you will be sure not to miss it. Again, that's April 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yep.
What were you going to say about Next 18 Contact Center AI?
Well, that's what got first announced.
Yes, obviously
Not
that's
the
not the one
platforms.
that we,
No.
not the platform AI,
Right.
Just Contact Center AI, and that's not the one that we covered directly either, but we covered the bundle for tying it all in, working with other contact center solutions and Chromeboxes, and I'm curious how that's going. We should touch base with Sue over at 8x8 and see what's going on there. They're actually having a conference which I might attend, so what I am trying to do is I'm trying to get my hands on some of the new Avocor Google hardware. The there you go. You got the public alpha date, July 24th.
Yeah, it's the 27-inch and the desk version, right?
Yes, the
And the
Avocor
65-inch.
Series 1, 65, and 27 devices. And Avocor was actually presenting nearby at a conference here in LA very recently. And I tried to get some hands-on with the new Google gear, but they said they did not have it showing it off there. Obviously, they're not ready to show it off just yet. But I am told that they are going to start doing kind of a roadshow with it. So hopefully we'll be able to get our hands on it in a little while. They did say that it's going to start up in... Sunnyvale, so all the way up north where Google's main
Not too
offices are
far from you.
located. So it's a 4-hour flight.
Closer to you than me.
Yes, definitely. But there's a beautiful Google office, both in LA and in Irvine, and I'd be willing to go to both. So hopefully we can pull some strings in Google and get us down there for some hands-on and do some videos and
Waiting
whatnot.
for this to get announced.
We are waiting
officially.
for better news on Google
know?
Next, yes. For those of you who are listening on the podcast side of things, Steve is holding up his Google Next water bottle over here and hoping that we can get some more information on this. So Google, we're waiting. Hopefully it's going to be in person. Steve and I would love to be able to cover that live. I don't think I'm going to actually be able to go live because it is the Jewish holiday of Sukkot or Sukkot, depending on how you pronounce that, whichever side of things you're on, Ashkenaz or Israelis or Sephardi or whatnot. But Steve will be there, so maybe Steve can get some on the floor interviews, and we'll piece it all together into a good video for everybody and put it up on our YouTube. But we'll see. I mean, regardless, no matter what it is, we'll be covering it. It's just no news yet on whether or not it's going to be in person. I saw I/O is going to be a virtual event, but that's in May, so we'll have to cover that as well, of course, because some big workspace things get announced at I/O for reasons that I cannot totally understand.
Yep.
All right, I'll take it. More workspace news is good for us and good for everybody using the platform, so we'll go for it. Anything else in closing, Steve?
No.
All right, that's all for this week. We'll let Steve go to bed because it's getting late over there. Send us your questions and comments on Twitter at Workspace Recap and on our website, workspacerecap.com. Hit the subscribe button wherever you're enjoying our show. And leave us a review if you could. If you like the video on YouTube, then down below, drop a comment, hit the thumbs up button so that everyone else on YouTube knows that we're awesome. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next time on Workspace Recap.